Hello and welcome back guys to another amazing lesson. Today I want to teach you 150 very useful words in daily life and academic purposes. If you can understand and correctly use all of these words, you will get a higher score in any English tests like TOEFL and IELTS. But there is a question, how to memorize them, or what is the best way to remember the words that we have learned? To answer to this question, I introduce you a method that I have used to remember English words, and actually this method worked for me. This method is this: don't memorize single words because you will forget them after a few days. And instead of that, memorize the words in a sentence. For example, I don't know the meaning of the word crucial. If you memorize it like this, crucial means very important, crucial means very important, crucial means very important, you will forget it after many days. And instead of that, memorize it with a sentence, like this. Parents play a crucial role in preparing their children for adult life. Here, change the word crucial with its meaning. Parents play a very important role in preparing their children for adult life. The benefit of this method is this: you can learn many words at the same time by changing every unknown word in the sentence with its meaning. So in this video, I have brought 2 examples for each word. You can use this method to memorize them. Without wasting any time, let's get started. Before starting, to support me, like this video and subscribe to my channel. The first word is reptile. Reptile. A type of cold-blooded animal with dry skin, such as snakes, lizards, or turtles. For example, snakes are a common type of reptile found in many parts of the world. My brother has a pet turtle, which is a small reptile that lives in water. Rarely. Rarely means not often or seldom. It refers to something that happens infrequently. For example, I rarely eat junk foods because I think they are not healthy. Jen rarely goes to the cinema because she prefers to watch movies at home. Remember that in everyday English, instead of rarely, people use often. Also, seldom is more formal than rarely and is used especially in written English. For example, Jack goes out rarely. Mike slept well rarely. These sentences are okay, but in writing, it is better to use seldom instead of rarely. Jack seldom goes out. Mike seldom slept well. Forbid. Forbid. To tell someone that they are not allowed to do something. For example, my parents forbid me from staying out past night. The sign on the door forbids smoking inside the building. Remember that. In everyday English, people usually say that someone is not allowed to do something rather than someone is forbidden to do something. For example, Max was forbidden to leave the house. In writing, to use forbidden is okay, but in speaking, people usually use not allowed. For example, Max was not allowed to leave the house. Max was forbidden to leave the house. Logical. Logical refers to something that makes sense or follows a reasonable sequence of thought. For example, it is logical to study before a test to improve your chances of getting a good grade. If you want to bake a cake, it is logical to gather all the necessary ingredients beforehand. Exhibit. To show something in a public place so that people can go to see it. For example, my father's paintings have been exhibited all over the world. During the science fair, students were asked to exhibit their projects to the visitors. Proceed. To continue to do something that has already been planned or started. For example, before proceeding further, we must define our terms. The traffic light turned green and the cars proceeding down the road. Precaution. Something you do in order to prevent something dangerous or unpleasant from happening. For example, wearing a helmet while riding a bike is a precaution to protect your head in case of an accident. The hiker carried a map and a compass as a precaution to avoid getting lost in the wilderness. Extract. Extract. To extract means to take out something from a larger whole. It can also refer to obtaining information or substances from a source. For example, the dentist had to extract my tooth because it was causing me pain. I used a juicer to extract the juice from the oranges. Prior. Prior. Warning or announcement made before something happens. For example, the society must give customers prior notice before changing the cost. We need to finish this project prior to starting the new one. Embrace. Embrace. To put your arms around someone and hold them in a friendly or loving way. It can also mean to accept an idea, belief, or way of life. For example, the mother embraced her son after he won the race. I decided to embrace a healthier lifestyle by exercising regularly and eating nutritious food. Valiant. Valiant. Very brave and gallant, especially in a difficult situation. For example, the valiant firefighter rushed into the burning building to save the trapped residents. Despite the challenges, the valiant soldier never gave up and fought until the end. Partial. Partial. Partial means not complete or incomplete or unfinished. For example, the teacher gave a partial answer to the math problems, so the students had to figure out the rest. The newspaper article provided a partial account of the event, leaving out the important details. Warden. Warden. A person in charge of a particular place, such as a prison or building. For example, the warden of the prison ensures that the inmates follow the rules. The warden of the national park takes care of the garden and protects the environment. Acknowledge. Acknowledge. To admit or accept that something is true or that a situation exists. For example, Sarah raised her hand to acknowledge that she understood the teacher's question. Jack acknowledged that when he is tired, he gets bad-tempered. Justice. Justice. Justice means fairness or the system by which people are judged. For example, the judge delivered justice by giving a fair sentence to the criminal. We seek justice for all people, regardless of their background. Delinquent. Delinquent. A person who breaks the law or behaving in a way that is illegal or the society does not approve it. For example, the police officer arrested the delinquent for stealing a wallet. The youthful delinquent tried to avoid going to jail. Reject. Reject. To refuse or not to accept. For example, the company rejected his job application because he didn't meet the qualifications. She rejected the offer to go to the party because she had other plans. Deprive. Deprive. To prevent someone from having something, especially something that they need or should have. For example, the storm deprived the town of electricity for several days. The diet deprived me of my favorite foods. Espouse. Espouse. Espouse means a husband or wife. For example, the woman and her spouse relieved each other throughout the night at their child's bedside. She introduced her spouse to her co-workers at the company party. Vocation. Vocation. Vocation means a person's occupation, profession, or calling in life. For example, teaching was her vocation because she loved working with children. He pursued a vocation in medicine and became a doctor. Unstable. Unstable. Something that is unstable is likely to move or fall. For example, the chair was unstable and wobbled when Mike sat on it. In some countries, the political situation is still very unstable. Homicide. Homicide. Murder or a person who kills another person. For example, the detective investigated the homicide and gathered evidence to solve the crime. Homicide is a serious crime that can lead to legal consequences. Penalize. Penalize. punishment on someone for breaking a rule or law. For example, the referee penalized the player with a yellow card for rough play. The company policy penalizes employees who arrive late to work. Beneficiary. Beneficiary. A person who receives benefits, advantage from someone or something. For example, the rich people are the main beneficiaries of the tax cuts. The scholarship program provided financial aid to deserving students, benefiting them as the beneficiaries. The first word is plea. Plea, a request that is urgent or full of emotion. For example, he made a plea to his parents to let him go to the party. The teacher listened to the student's plea for more time to complete the assignment. Weary. Weary. Weary means very tired or bored, especially because you have been doing something for a long time. For example, after a long day at work, she felt weary and just wanted to rest. The hiker was weary after climbing the steep hill. Collide. Collide. To hit something or someone that is moving in a different direction from you. For example, the car collided with a tree after the driver lost his control. A car and a van collided on the motorway. Confirm. Confirm. To show that something is definitely true, especially by providing more proof. For example, the employer confirmed that the money had been paid. Research has confirmed that the risk is higher for women. Verify. Verify. Confirm the truth of something. For example, a computer program verifies that the system is working. The bank asks for identification to verify the customer's identity before processing the transaction. Remember that in everyday English, people usually say check rather than verify. For example, can I just verify that I have spelled your name correctly? Instead of this sentence, people usually say, can I just check that I have spelled your name correctly? Anticipate. Anticipate. To expect or look forward to something happening in the future. For example, she anticipated receiving a gift on her birthday. It means she expected to receive a gift on her birthday. The students eagerly anticipated the start of their summer vacation. It means the students were excitedly looking forward to the beginning of their summer break. Dilemma. Dilemma. A situation in which it is very difficult to decide what to do because all the choices seem equally good or equally bad. For example, she faced a dilemma when she had to choose between attending her friend's wedding and a family gathering on the same day. The company was in a dilemma when it had to decide between laying off employees or reducing their salaries to cut costs. Detour. Detour. Detour means a way of going from one place to another that is longer than usual way. For example, they had to take a detour because the main road was closed due to construction. The driver took a detour to avoid heavy traffic and reach the airport on time. Merit. Merit. Merit means an advantage or good feature of something. For example, the film has the merit of being short. The great merit of the project is its flexibility and low cost. Transmit. Transmit. It means to send or convey something from one place to another place. For example, she used her phone to transmit the footage to her computer. The radio station transmits news and music to listeners across the city. Relief. Relief. To reduce the pain. For example, taking a hot bath helped relieve his muscle pain. The kind words from her friend relieved her worries about the upcoming exam. Baffle. Baffle. To make someone unable to understand or explain something. For example, the question baffled the new students completely. The scientist was baffled by the unexpected results of the experiment. Fears. Fierce. A fierce person or animal is angry or ready to attack. For example, the fierce lion roared loudly in the jungle. Mike Tyson gave his opponent a fierce look before the fight started. Detest. Detest. To detest means to strongly dislike or hate something or someone. For example, I detest the taste of your pizza, so I never eat them. He detests going to the dentist because it makes him anxious. Sneer. Sneer. An unkind smile or remark that shows you have no respect for something or someone. For example, our teacher sneers at Jack when he makes mistakes. She couldn't hide her sneer when her rival received an award. Scowl. Scowl. To look at someone in an angry way. For example, the teacher scolded at the noisy students in the classroom. My father scolded when he saw that someone had taken his parking spot. Encourage. Encourage. To give support, confidence, or motivation to someone. For example, my parents always encourage me to do my best in school. The coach encouraged the team before the game to boost their morale. Consider. Consider. To think about something carefully, especially before making a choice or decision. I will consider your suggestion before choosing a vacation destination. She considered her options before accepting the job offer. Vermin. Vermin. Small animals, birds, and insects that are harmful. For example, the farmer set up traps to catch the vermin that were damaging his crops. Our city implemented measures to control the vermin population in the urban areas. Wail. Wail. To cry out with a high sound, especially because you are very sad or in pain. For example, the baby began to wail when she dropped her toy. I saw Mr. Johnson that he was wailing for his dead wife. Symbol. Symbol. A picture or shape that has a particular meaning. For example, the dove is often seen as a symbol of peace. The red heart is a symbol of love. Authority. Authority. The power you have because of your official position. For example, the police officer has the authority to enforce the law. Only the president has the authority to declare war. Neutral. Neutral. Not taking sides in a conflict. For example, I always tried to remain neutral when they started arguing. Our country declared itself neutral and refused to take part in the World War. Trifle. Trifle. Something unimportant or not valuable. For example, the lost pen was a trifle compared to the missing laptop. There is no point in arguing over trifles. Architect. Architect. Architect means a person who designs buildings. For example, the architect drew up plans for the new office building. The architect inspected the construction site to ensure that everything was being built according to the plans. Matrimony. Matrimony. The state of being married. For example, after a year of dating, Mike and Mary decided to enter into matrimony. The couple celebrated their 25th anniversary of matrimony with a romantic dinner. Baggage. Baggage. The bag or box carried by someone who is traveling. For example, shall I help you take your bags upstairs? You are only allowed one item of hand baggage on the plane. Squander. Squander. Squander means to waste something, especially money or time, in a reckless or foolish manner. For example, Jack squandered all his money on gambling and now he's broke. Don't squander your time watching TV all day. Do something productive. Abroad. Abroad. In or to a foreign country. For example, she traveled abroad for the first time last year and loved it. My brother is currently studying abroad in Spain and learning Spanish. Fugitive. Fugitive. A person who is running away from the law or from danger. For example, the fugitive was caught by the police after a high-speed chase. One of the most wanted fugitives caught by the Italian police. Calamity. Calamity. An unexpected event that causes a lot of damage or suffering. For example, the earthquake was a calamity that destroyed many buildings and killed thousands of people. The company suffered a financial calamity when their main investor pulled out. Pauper. Pauper. Pauper means a very poor person who has no money. For example, the old man was a pauper who begged for food on the streets. The charity provides shelter and food for paupers who have nowhere else to go. Envy. Envy. The feeling of wanting something that someone else has. For example, she felt envy towards her friend who had a new car and a big house. Max tried to hide his envy when his colleague got a promotion. Collapse. Collapse. To fall down suddenly because of weakness or lack of support. The building collapsed after the earthquake, trapping many people inside. She collapsed with a heart attack while she was dancing. Prosecute. Prosecute. To take legal action against someone, especially for a crime. For example, the company decided to prosecute the employee who stole money from the cash register. The government is prosecuting the drug lord after trafficking illegal drugs. Bigamy. Bigamy. The crime of being married to two people at the same time. For example, he was arrested for bigamy after his first wife found out about his second marriage. Bigamy is illegal in some countries and can result in jail time. Possible. Possible. Possible means capable of happening or being done. For example, it is possible to learn a new language with practice and dedication. There is a possible chance of rain tomorrow, so bring an umbrella. Compel. Compel. To force someone to do something. For example, the teacher compelled the students to finish their homework before the end of class. The law can compel people to pay their taxes. Awkward. Awkward. Awkward means making you feel embarrassed so that you are not sure what to do or say. It was awkward when she accidentally spilled her drink on her date. He felt awkward when he realized he was wearing mismatched socks. Venture. Venture. To take a risky journey or undertaking. For example, they decided to venture into the unknown territory despite the potential dangers. She ventured into the business world by starting her own company. Awesome. Awesome. Awesome means extremely impressive or inspiring. For example, the view from the top of the mountain was awesome. The concert was awesome with amazing music and lights. Guide. Guide. A person who shows the way or gives advice. For example, the tour guide showed us around the city and told us about its history. The teacher acted as a guide for the students, helping them with their assignments. Quench. Quench. To stop yourself feeling thirsty by drinking something. For example, drinking water can quench your thirst on a hot day. She quenched her curiosity by reading books about different cultures. Betray. Betray. To be disloyal or reveal secrets. For example, he felt betrayed when his friend shared his personal information with others. The spy was accused of betraying his country by giving away very important information. Utter. Utter. To speak or express something aloud. For example, she uttered a few words of encouragement to her friend before the big game. He didn't utter a single word during the meeting even when asked a question. Pacify. Pacify. Pacify means to calm down or to make someone calm and quiet after they have been angry or upset. The mother tried to pacify her crying baby by rocking him gently. The police officer pacified the angry crowd by explaining the situation. Respond. Respond. Respond means to answer or reply to something. For example, he responded to the email within an hour of receiving it. The dog responded to his owner's comment and sat down. Beckon. Beckon. To signal someone to come closer. For example, she beckoned her friend over to where she was sitting. The waiter beckoned us to our table at the restaurant. Despite. Despite. Despite means without being affected by something. For example, despite the rain, I went for a walk. Despite his injury, Mike played in the football match. Disrupt. Disrupt. Disrupt means entrapped or causing a problem. For example, the loud noise of your phone disrupts my concentration. Turn it off, please. The attacks are designed to disrupt plans for the elections. Rash. Rash. Doing things too quickly without thinking carefully. For example, don't go making any rash decisions about your future. Please, JC, don't do anything rash. Rapid. Rapid. Rapid means fast and quick or happening very quickly. For example, the train made rapid progress towards its destination. The rapid growth of the Elon Musk's company was impressive. Exhaust. Exhaust. To feel extremely tired. For example, Max would exhausted himself carrying all the boxes upstairs. The project deadline exhausted the team. Severity. Severity. Severity means difficulty or hardness. For example, the severity of the storm caused a lot of damage. The severity of the punishment made him think twice about breaking the rules again. Feeble. Feeble. Feeble means extremely weak or not very good and effective. For example, the old man's feeble voice was hard to hear. His voice sounded feeble and far away. Unite. Unite. Come or bring together for a common purpose. For example, at the beginning, our team united to win the game. The community united to clean up the park. Cease. Cease. Cease means to stop doing something or stop happening. For example, the rain finally ceased after hours of pouring down. The company decided to cease production of product. Thrifty. Thrifty. Thrifty means using money carefully and not wastefully. She is a thrifty shopper and always looks for sales. His thrifty habits helped him save money for his trip. Miserly. Miserly. A miserly person is not generous and doesn't like spending money. For example, the miserly old man refused to give any money to charity. Sarah's miserly ways made her unpopular with her friends. Monarch. Monarch. Monarch means a king or queen. For example, the monarch of England is Queen Elizabeth. The bishops were appointed by the monarch. Outlaw. Outlaw. Outlaw is a noun and it means a person who has broken the law and is considered a criminal. It can also be used as a verb meaning to make something illegal. For example, the outlaw was on the run from the police. The sheriff was determined to catch the outlaw. Promote. Promote. Promote is a verb and it means to support, encourage or advance someone or something to a higher position or status. For example, the company decided to promote him to a higher position. The teacher promoted reading by giving out books to her students. Undernourished. Undernourished. Undernourished is adjective and it describes someone who is unhealthy and weak because they have not had enough food or the right type of food. For example, the undernourished child was very thin and weak. The doctor recommended a special diet for the undernourished patient. Illustrate. Illustrate. Illustrate is verb and it means to make something clear or explain it by using pictures, diagrams or examples. For example, the book was illustrated with beautiful drawings. She illustrated her discussion with diagrams. Disclose. Disclose. Disclose is a verb and it means to make something publicly known or reveal information that was previously hidden or secret. For example, the company refused to disclose their financial records. The journalist disclosed the politicians' dirty behaviors. Excessive. Excessive. Excessive is adjective and it describes something that is more than what is considered normal. For example, his excessive drinking caused him health problems. The company was criticized for its excessive use of plastic packaging. Disaster. Disaster. Disaster is a noun and it means a sudden event such as a flood, a storm or accident that causes great damage, destruction or suffering. For example, the earthquake was a disaster for the city. The plane crash was a terrible disaster. Censor. Censor. Censor can be used as a noun or verb and it means a person whose job is to examine books, films, letters, etc. and remove anything considered to be unacceptable. For example, the information given to the press was carefully censored by the Ministry of Defense. The film has been heavily censored. Culprit. Culprit. Culprit is a noun and it means the person who is guilty of a crime and responsible for doing something wrong. For example, the police were searching for the culprit of the robbery. The detective finally identified the culprit of the murder. Juvenile. Juvenile. Juvenile is adjective and it means relating to young people or immature individuals. It can also be used as a noun to refer to a young person. For example, the police officer arrested the leader of a band of juveniles. The library had a section dedicated to juvenile literature. Bait. Bait. Bait can be used as a noun or verb and it means food used to attract fish, animals or birds to catch or trap them. It can also be used as a verb and it means to attract someone or something. For example, the fisherman used worms as bait to catch the fishes. The hunter used a decoy as bait to attract ducks. Insist. Insist. Insist is a verb and it means to demand something forcefully or to state firmly that something should be done or believed. For example, they insisted that everyone should come to the party. The teacher insisted that her students follow the rules. Toil. Toil. Toil means to work extremely hard, often involving physical labor. For example, the farmer toiled in the fields all day. She toiled over her homework until late at night. Blunder. Blunder. A careless or a stupid mistake. For example, he made a blunder by forgetting his keys. The politician's blunder cost him the election. Daze. Daze. Daze means feeling confused and not able to think clearly. For example, the bright lights of the stage made her dazed. The athlete was dazed after being hit in the head. Mourn. Mourn. To feel very sad and to miss someone after they have died. For example, Jack and Sarah mourned for their children killed in the war. The nation mourned the death of their leader. Subside. Subside. If a feeling, pain or sound subsides, it gradually becomes less and then stops. For example, the storm finally subsided after hours of heavy rain. His anger subsided after he took a deep breath. Main. Main means something that is more important than other things. For example, the main reason for his success was hard work. Our main concern is that the children are safe. Comprehend. Comprehend means to understand the meaning of something. For example, the students couldn't comprehend the complex math problem. I didn't fully comprehend what had happened. Remember that in everyday English, people usually say understand instead of comprehend. For example, I didn't fully comprehend what had happened. I didn't fully understand what had happened. Commend. Commend means to approve of someone or something. For example, the boss commended her for her hard work on the project. The teacher commended the student for their excellent essay. Final means indicating something as the last or ultimate. For example, this is the final exam of the semester. The final decision was made by the judge. Exempt means to give someone permission not to do or pay something. For example, the children are exempt from paying taxes. Living abroad doesn't necessarily exempt you paying tax. Vain. Someone who is vain is too proud of their good looks, abilities, or position. For example, he was so vain that he spent hours looking in the mirror. The actress was accused of being too vain to work with. Reputation means renown or the opinion that people have about someone or something because of what has happened in the past. For example, the restaurant has a reputation for serving excellent food. In her last job, she gained a reputation as a hard worker. Depict means to represent or portray something or someone through a picture or drawing. For example, the artist depicted a beautiful sunset with vibrant colors in her painting. The book vividly depicted the adventures of a young boy in a magical world. Mortal means not able to live forever. For example, all humans are mortal and will eventually die. Her father's death reminded her that she is mortal. Novel, a long written story in which the characters and events are usually imaginary. For example, I enjoy reading mystery novels because they keep me engaged and guessing until the end. She is currently writing a science fiction novel set in a dystopian future. Now, stop the video and make a sentence for the word novel. Occupant means someone who lives in a house. For example, the occupant of the house was away on vacation when the fire broke out. The furniture had been left by the previous occupant. Appoint means to choose someone for a position or a job. For example, the manager decided to appoint John as the team leader for the new project. A committee was appointed to consider the plans. Quarter means one of 4 equal parts of something. For example, the pizza was divided into quarters and everyone got a slice. I'll meet you in a quarter of an hour. Site, a specific location or place, often referring to a physical or online location. For example, the factory will be built at a site to the north of the city. I found a great website that offers free language lessons. Quote means to repeat someone's exact words, often for reference. For example, the teacher quoted a famous author to emphasize the importance of reading. He used a quote from a motivational speaker to inspire his team. Verse, a single line or a group of lines in a poem or song. For example, she sang a beautiful verse from her favorite poem. Let's sing the last verse again. Morality. Morality. Morality means beliefs or ideas about what is right and wrong and about how people should behave. For example, honesty and kindness are important moral values. Several advisors had very different views on the morality of the action. Roam. Roam. Roam means to walk or travel, usually for a long time with no clear purpose or direction. For example, the cat loves to roam around the neighborhood, exploring different gardens. During the summer break, we decided to roam the countryside and visit new places. Attract. Attract. Attract means to make someone interested in something or make them want to take part in something. For example, the bright colors of the flowers attract bees and butterflies. His friendly and outgoing personality tends to attract many friends. Tragedy. Tragedy. A tragedy is a very sad or unfortunate event or situation. It often involves great suffering or loss. For example, the car accident that claimed the lives of 3 people was a tragedy for their families. The sudden death of his beloved pet dog was a personal tragedy for Mike. Pedestrian. Pedestrian. Pedestrian has 2 different meanings. Firstly, it refers to a person who is walking on a street or sidewalk. Secondly, it can be used to describe something ordinary or lacking excitement. For example, the pedestrian crossed the road carefully at the designated crosswalk. The movie was quite pedestrian. It has a predictable plot and interesting characters. Glance. Glance. Glance means to quickly look at something or someone, usually for a short moment. For example, she glanced at her watch and realized she was running late for the meeting. The boy glanced out of the window to see if it was still raining. Budget. Budget. A budget is a plan that outlines how much money you have and how you plan to spend or save it. It helps you manage your finances. For example, I need to create a budget to keep track of my monthly expenses and savings. They decided to go on a budget vacation to save money. Nimble. Nimble. Nimble describes someone or something that is quick and light in movement or action. For example, the cat was nimble and agile as it jumped from one branch to another. The gymnast's nimble moves impressed the audiences. Manipulate. Manipulate. Manipulate means to control someone or something in a skillful or unfair manner. For example, the politician was accused of trying to manipulate the public's opinion through misleading statements. He managed to manipulate the puzzle pieces to fit perfectly together. Reckless. Reckless. Reckless describes someone who acts without thinking about the consequences, often taking unnecessary risks. For example, my friend was accused of causing death by reckless driving. Climbing the tree without any safety equipment is a reckless decision. Horrid. Horrid. Horrid means extremely unpleasant, terrible, or horrifying. For example, the smell in the room was horrid. It made everyone feel sick. My sister had a horrid dream that woke her up in the middle of the night. Rave. Rave. Rave can be used as a verb or a noun. As a verb, it means to express great admiration for something. As a noun, it refers to a large party or gathering with music and dancing. For example, she raved about the new restaurant, saying the food was amazing and the service was excellent. The music festival was a wild rave with thousands of people dancing and having a great time. Economical. Economical. Economical means using resources such as money or time efficiently and without waste. For example, buying in bulk is an economical way to save money. He chose the most economical route to avoid traffic and save time. Lubricate. Lubricate. Lubricate means to apply a substance such as oil or grease to reduce friction and make something move smoothly. For example, the mechanic lubricated the car engine to ensure it ran smoothly. The cyclist applied lubricant to the bike chain to prevent it from rusting and to improve its performance. Ingenious. Ingenious. Ingenious describes something or someone who is clever, creative, and inventive. For example, the engineer came up with an ingenious solution to the complex problem. The artist used an ingenious technique to create a stunning painting. Appeal. Appeal. Appeal means to attract or interest someone. It can also refer to making a request for something. For example, the colorful flowers in the garden appealed to the children. She made an appeal to her friends to help her with her school project. Addict. Addict. An addict is a person who is physically or mentally dependent on a particular substance or activity. For example, he is addicted to playing video games and he spends hours in front of the screen. Sarah's brother is a coffee addict and can't start his day without a cup of coffee. Wary. Wary. Someone who is wary is careful because they think something might be dangerous or harmful. For example, after hearing about the recent car thefts in the area, she became wary of parking her car on the street. The strange look in his eyes made me wary of accepting his offer. Aware. Aware. Aware means having knowledge or understanding about something. For example, she was aware of the approaching storm, so she brought an umbrella with her. He became aware of his mistake when his teacher pointed out during class. Misfortune. Misfortune. Misfortune refers to bad luck or an unfortunate event. For example, it was a misfortune that she lost her wallet on the way to the store. The family faced a misfortune when their house was damaged in a fire. Avoid. Avoid. To stay away from someone or something or prevent something from happening. For example, to avoid getting wet, she carried an umbrella on a rainy day. He tries to avoid eating sugary foods to maintain a healthy diet. Wretched. Wretched. Someone who is wretched is very unhappy and you feel sorry for them. For example, I was shocked to see their wretched living conditions. The poor village had wretched living conditions with no access to clean water. Keg. Keg. A round, wooden or metal container with a flat top and bottom used for storing beer. For example, the party host rented a keg of beer to serve the guests. The workers rolled the keg of oil into the storage room. Nourish. Nourish. Nourish means to provide food or support for growth and development. For example, the cream contains vitamin A to nourish the skin. Eating a balanced diet with fruits and vegetables helps nourish the body. Harsh. Harsh. Harsh means unpleasant or unkind. For example, the law is harsh on people who go around menacing others. The harsh winter weather made it difficult to go outside without warm clothing. Quantity. Quantity. Quantity refers to an amount, number, or measurement of something. For example, she bought a large quantity of apples to make a pie for the family. The store offered a discount for purchasing a greater quantity of the products. Opt. Opt. Opt means to choose or decide to do something. For example, she decided to opt for the healthier option and ordered a salad instead of fries. He opted to take the train instead of driving to avoid traffic. Cylinder. Cylinder. Cylinder means thin or slim in form or shape. For example, she has a cylinder figure and is admired for her graceful appearance. Jennifer Lopez, American singer, is slender and stylish. Surpass. Surpass. Surpass means to go beyond an achievement, quality, or performance. For example, her test scores surpassed those of all her classmates. We thought Jack unable to do the project, but he had surpassed all our expectations. Vast. Vast. Vast means extremely large. For example, the refugees come across the border in vast numbers. In the past 5 years, there has been a vast improvement in graduation rates. Doubt. Doubt. Doubt means a feeling of uncertainty or lack of belief. For example, I have some doubts about his ability to complete the project on time. There is no doubt that by working hard everything is possible. Capacity. Capacity means the maximum amount or number that something can hold or contain. For example, the stadium has a seating capacity of 50,000 spectators. The cup has a capacity of 500 milliliters. Penetrate. Penetrate means to enter or pass through something, especially with force or difficulty. For example, few US companies have successfully penetrated the Japanese electronics market. Explorers penetrated deep into unknown regions. Pierce. Pierce means go into or go through. For example, I tried to ignore his bad violin playing, but the sound was piercing. The arrow pierced the bullseye, scoring a perfect hit. Accurate. Accurate means correct or exact in details or measurements. The scientists' measurements were accurate to the nearest millimeter. The weather forecast was accurate and it didn't rain as predicted. Microscope. Microscope is an optical instrument used for viewing very small objects or details. For example, the biologists use a microscope to study cells and microorganisms. The student observed the intricate patterns of a leaf under the microscope. Grateful. Feeling or expressing gratitude or appreciation. For example, I am grateful for your help and support during a difficult time. She sent a thank you note to express her gratitude for the thoughtful gift. Cautious means careful to avoid danger or risks. For example, the hiker took cautious steps to prevent falling. Doctors are understandably cautious about this new treatment. Confident. Having belief in oneself or one's abilities. Maria felt confident in his presentation skills and delivered a successful talk. I feel much more confident about myself and my abilities these days.